Both have felt really good. Time in at the AXA was already really pleasant because we have such great facilities over there, but I can say the same about the facilities over here. The temperature is a bit different though, but it's nice as well. Although yesterday it started raining in the afternoon, but so it felt a bit familiar. But facilities have been good and working with the team as well.
Obviously, Mo Salah is out here. How important is it for him to get a full pre-season for the first time it feels like a while?
I think it's important for every player to have a full pre-season, but unfortunately that's almost impossible for most of the players in these current times where we play so many Euros and other kind of tournaments. So, but I think in an ideal situation, every player wants to have a proper pre-season, and fortunately Mo has one. Unfortunately, many others don't have it, but it's the way it is these days.
Obviously, coming into this sort of camp with a lot of younger players in the team, you'll have players coming in at various stages. But obviously, everybody wants to know about whether any more players will come in the transfer window. How busy do you expect Liverpool to be this summer?
I think I said before that the first aim is to work with these players, and of course it's a disadvantage that many of them are not here yet. So and then I mean the players that are already under contract. The positives about that is that it's I think you know better than me that it's an important lifeline of the club that youngsters come into the team as well. So it's an ideal way of seeing them in these weeks where they get a lot of playing time as well. And yet the standards are really high when it comes to bringing in new players because we have such a good team and such a good squad. So of course Richard and me and other people as well are trying to improve the squad where possible, but that's not that easy because we have so many good players yet.
And finally, obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't here. We all know he's entering the final year of his contract. How confident are you that a new one can be agreed and he'll be a Liverpool player for longer than just a year?
My answer would probably be a bit boring, and I think it's the same answer you've heard in the last 5, 6 or 7 years, that contract situation are not discussed at this place. So, but just keep trying, I would say.
Always will. I always will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next one, John. You mentioned in your first press conference that you were hired partly because you've got a similar style to how the teams play, but obviously there will be some differences. So in terms of the players that you do have with you now, how pleased are you with how they're adapting to what you're asking of them, and how valuable has it been the time that you've had to get those messages across?
Like you said, many things will stay the same when it comes to playing style, but of course there will be a few adjustments because otherwise every manager has also his own ideas, but general playing style would probably look quite familiar for you guys. And I think every player, especially if they have had a few weeks off, they need to adapt playing with the ball again. So taking that into account, I think we have made some steps compared to where we started, but that has maybe not so much to do with implementing new ideas, but it also has to do with players getting used to playing with the ball again. So, but I'm very happy, like I said before, with the energy the team is giving every single day, and which is normal in pre-season because everywhere around the world you hear the same things. Players work really hard, but that's also with us. So till now I've been happy with the way they did, and looking forward to the game tomorrow to see if we can bring some positives to the game as well.
Has anyone surprised you so far? I mean, I'm sure you did your research, but is there one or two you were really forward? Didn't know you'd be that good?
I don't think anyone that is established player surprised me because if you go to one of the best clubs in the world, to the best players in the world, I don't think you're surprised in terms of quality. But like I just mentioned as well, many young players joined us here as well, and there are a few that surprised me in a positive way, of course. But if your next question would be who they are, then you're not going to get the answer. Okay. Does Tony know anything about football then?
James.
I think they like this joke.
Still that 11 players obviously off the back of the Euros and the Copa America. Will you get a few of those players back over the course of this trip, and if so, who and when?
Jago is arriving today, I think, so we will have his testing day tomorrow, and the day after he will join us in a session. and I think it's Ibu and Ryan that will join us later in the trip. And I don't think I forget anyone, and the rest will start after the trip when we're back in Liverpool.
How about Alisson Becker?
I think he will start also in Liverpool when we're back in Liverpool.
And just on the topic of transfers, in terms, obviously most clubs in the Premier League have strengthened already. Liverpool are one of the few that haven't. Is that more because of you wanting time to fully assess what you've inherited, or is it more the case that targets aren't available? What is the main reason?
The first one is one of the reasons which you just said. So me wanting to assess, is that the right word, the squad, which is difficult because most of them are still not here. And the second one also has to do with the difficulty of if you inherited a team that's really good, then it's not so easy to find players that are of the same standards or even higher, especially because those ones need to be available then as well. But like I said, Richard, more than me, is really working hard on that as well, and he keeps me updated every time. And if there's any news on that, we will come to you. But like I said, we already have a very good team, where I am already really happy with. But would be a surprise for all of us, I think, if we don't bring any player in. So that will probably happen in the end. But for now, we're just waiting for the players to come back and waiting for the right ones to sign.
Just in terms of Andy Robertson, he wasn't involved in the game against Preston last week. Is he fully fit now, or are you still able to manage him off the back of the Euros?
He's not fully fit yet, but we're expecting him in the end of the tour, maybe just after the tour, to be fully fit again. So he took a small injury into the Euros, and afterwards he had to recover from that after playing those games. But we will expect him back after our tour. But he joined us over here.
Yeah, what is the problem?
I think that's a medical issue, and that's something we don't share.
So you wouldn't expect him to play any part in the 3 games over here?
No.
With transfers, Arne, would you say that from what you've seen so far, the current squad is good enough to challenge for the goals that you've set for the upcoming season, and therefore new additions would be a bonus to the squad, or do you think that they're needed?
I think the answer lies in last season, where I think 5, 6, 7 games before the end they were still competing with Arsenal and City. So there you have your answer. They are good enough to compete.
And you obviously, since we last spoke to you, brought in 2 coaches, John Heitinger and Aaron Briggs. What do they bring to your team?
Premier League experience. Both of them have worked in the Premier League. John more recent than Aaron. And both of them, of course, have their own role in our staff. So I think I said before that Aaron is also the one that's going to bridge the gap between the youth academy and the first team. He has an analyst background, so that's a positive thing. And John has played many games in the Premier League, and last season he was an assistant coach, that's the way you call it over here as well, at West Ham. So brings experience as a player, but also as an assistant in this league. And he worked with someone that I know really well, and the two of us have quite a similar playing style, so I think it's not going to take long for him to understand exactly what we want with the players.
And then the other week you mentioned how you'd spoken to Darwin Núñez on the phone. Have you been in contact with the players that are not here yet, or is it important for you to give them a bit of space to enjoy their holidays?
Both. So I called them after they went out of every tournament, and we had a conversation about how the tournament went, how last season went, and what we expect from them the upcoming season, in combination with the amount of days they have off. And some of them I've spoken a bit more recently, and some of them they are just enjoying their holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, in accepting this job, how much you thought about the challenge of replacing someone as successful and popular as Klopp? How much of the decision to come and take this job did you factor in that particular challenge?
I think if you go to one of the biggest clubs in the world, there's always pressure. So, and I've already explained in Liverpool that you can look at it 2 ways. You can be afraid for his legacy, but you can also look at the fact that he left behind a team that can win things. And I've won a few trophies as well at Feyenoord, and I'm hoping that I can do the same over here as well, and that's the aim we've got, and that's my aim as well.
My question is, how do you prepare for Real Betis? Or as a preseason game, are you more focused on preparing your own club for the upcoming Premier League season?
I think it's a bit of both, but it's mostly preparing our own team. But I think part of preparing your own team is also preparing them for what they can expect tomorrow. So what kind of press the opponent gives, and how we then want to play out from the back, how they want to do build up, and how we have to press them. So it's a bit of both. I think till now we've worked mainly on our own ideas, and tomorrow we will have a meeting where I'm going to share with them what they can expect from Betis.
When you're on a tour like this, how do you deal with the travel or things like that, the constant shifting from city to city and things like that as you try to coalesce this team into the regular season?
Yeah, we have a lot of professionals to make sure that this goes as in the best possible way. And I think it was 2 days ago where we traveled in a plane, where not everybody will travel with a plane like this. So we could rest really well. So that's we have to adjust towards the time zone, of course. But in terms of traveling, I think we could be in a better place than we were.
Is this a good way for you to start with a tour like this?
I think it's always important to have also games where you get a lot of resistance. Ideally, you have your complete team, of course. So, but there's nothing to do if we would have been here or we would have been in Liverpool. In both situations, we don't have the complete team available. But if you come over here, you have a lot of strong opponents to play against, and I think that then immediately also shows you the weaknesses you have as a team, and if you're already competitive enough to start the league in a few weeks. So that is one of the advantages of coming over here, that we face 3 tough opponents.
Last one, man.
When you're in a new situation like this, how much of your time do you spend studying players that you've inherited, and how much do you spend studying the opposition, whether it's City or Arsenal or Man U or the entire league? How much of your time can you find to study the opposition as well?
I think that changes during the season. So at this moment, the full focus is on our own team. So all our meetings are, what do we have to improve? What can we do better? What do we do really good already? And then during the season, when Ipswich comes up or Brentford or all the other teams, then you implement the opponent towards your ideas as well. But in football, there are a few systems to play against. So it could be 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 5-3-2, but they're not 15 to 20. So in these upcoming weeks, we try to prepare them for all the systems you can face during the season in terms of how you want to do build-up and how you want to press those teams then. Combined with, in these part of the season, of course, it's very important that players stay fit, stay available, and go to a next step in terms of match fitness.
Thank you, everyone. See you all tomorrow.